maybe the most important show so far for 2025 because we break down the ADP data that we actually have in our Kung Fu grip right now. Players that we, in some cases, predicted would be a steal walking into 2025, at least early on 2025, because people would be behind while we're ahead. We're ahead of the curve. We climb to the end. It's a lonely corner because some people say, oh, he's not going to go that early or that late. Some of this stuff is shocking. Some of this stuff, and when I say shocking, I mean in a good way, a way to take advantage. Where we're looking at ADP data 2025, and we're also combing through a few pieces of news here relating to coaching movement, coaching carousel type stuff. The Fantasy Football Show, most important show of 2025 yet. The ADP show, the breakout steal based on cost of entry show, the Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty, link in description and link pinned in the live chat. Code Smitty gets it done show begins right now. File on in.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios.
It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live!
Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern.
Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
Live whenever news breaks. Deckard with the first super chat of the evening. My main man, Smitty. Appreciate you, Deckard, dropping the super chat to kick off the show. Again, we'll be going over the ADP data that you have right in front of your face right here. I'm not going to beat around the bush here. We've got some steals. We knew Lamb would be in the 7, 8, 9 range. This is great news that Lamb's at 7. Packages and all the risk. You got BT, HN, St. Brown, Malik Neighbors down at 13. he should be in the top 6, 7. This is great news. We'll go over it in a minute. So hang tight. Real quickly, let's get the news out of the way. Breaking news here. Cliff Kingsbury has officially decided to stay in Washington for a second season with Jaden Daniels and the Commanders. This is, we predicted this. If the Chicago job went away, as he was waiting until the team was either knocked out of the playoffs or they won the Super Bowl, he was not interviewing until it was over for the Washington Commanders, and the job was already handed over to Ben Johnson prior. Kingsbury didn't even get to interview. And that would have been a job, I believe, based on his relationship with Caleb Williams. They're like family. They spent holidays together. He was the QB coach at USC, and he came into the NFL this last season again. He was obviously in the NFL before, but he was with Caleb. Caleb's last season was with Kingsbury as his QB coach. So they're like this. I believe he would have taken the job. But right now he's got, third and fourth choice. There's a lot of jobs already taken. So Kingsbury's decision to wait was an honorable one, but it knocked him out of contention for all of his top probably landing spots that he wanted. So now he's going to comb through the leftovers or stay with JD5, build his resume up and be the Ben Johnson of 2025. That is what Kingsbury's intentions will be. And this is fantastic news because nothing changes, baby. It's all JD5 2025. Art Rooney said he anticipates signing Russell Wilson or Justin Fields. We talked about this a little bit yesterday, but I want to bring it up again. The tail end of yesterday's news, bringing it to the forefront here. Bottom line is this: we don't want Justin Fields handcuffed in Pittsburgh. I don't mind handcuffing Russell Wilson in Pittsburgh. I really don't want anybody on that Pittsburgh roster, to be honest with you, in 2025 at all. Really, Pickens, no, thank you. He's a head case. I don't believe in him. I love his talent, but he'll never keep it all together, in my opinion, or at least we need to see it a couple years, or maybe he matures, and then I reserve the right to change my mind if he wakes up on the right side of the bed and decides to stay there. But for right now, Pickens is a head case, and I want Russell Wilson to go somewhere where he doesn't disarm all of the fantasy football assets involved on the team. Like, he goes over to Seattle again. Well, not going to happen, but if he did, I'm just giving an example. I don't like what that does for JSN and DK Metcalf trying to coexist over there. Now, maybe DK gets traded. We'll talk about that as the offseason moves along, but let's hope that Russell Wilson is the one that re-signs in Pittsburgh. And Fields says, screw this. I'm not going to resign here. I'll do it if I have no other suitors, but you got to be kidding me. You guys didn't believe in me. I'm going to a team that wants me as their first choice, like in Seattle or in LV as a Raider, or in, there's a plethora. New York would be phenomenal. New York, the Jets would be great. Either New York situation would be great for Justin Fields. And I think this Aaron Glenn character What a press conference. Anybody see Aaron Glenn? Absolutely owned all the reporters. This guy's like better than Tomlin in terms of commanding an entertaining type of interview. That's the only thing Tomlin can do that's good. Tomlin's good for watching how he's going to scream and yell at somebody, and that's it. That's it. Maybe that's all I'm good for. I don't know. Maybe there's some parallels there. But Aaron Glenn literally was like, don't ask that question again. You hear me? You understand? Hey, yeah. Oh, yeah. You over there in the back. And they're like, hey, yeah, Mr. Aaron Glenn, is Aaron Rodgers your quarterback? What do you look for in a quarterback? He says, I look for a quarterback. I look for a winner. And next question. Like, he's just commanding this thing. I kind of like Aaron Glenn. I think if anybody can fix New York, the New York Jets, I believe Aaron Glenn might be the guy. I know it's a little hopeful. I know we've been burned by New York for several years in a row, but this is a defensive-minded guy from the Detroit Lions that everybody loved. Everybody loved. Comes over to this situation, probably going to establish the run. He's probably going to use Breece Hall like crazy in conjunction with the defense, and it's gonna be a team about run and defense, field position and the run. That's what I feel, and I like Aaron Glenn a lot. Liam Cohen ended up doing the Bears. Remember when Caleb was like at the end of his press conference, he goes, thanks everybody, the Bears. And it was like, whoa. And even Ditka, they all rolled over in their graves, any of them that used to say it. And Caleb goes, the Bears. Well, Liam Cohen might have done one even worse. He goes in there and goes, Daboll! At his press conference. Everyone was like, what is this guy doing? It was as bad as the Russell Wilson Broncos country, let it ride, let's ride. It was bad. I'm not saying I judge the man fully off of that, but I am a man of strange particular judgments that make me say, I don't know what I'm doing. What am I looking at here? This guy can't get the press conference right. What is going on here? But Cohen, he said he'll call the plays in Jacksonville. Look, let me make this abundantly clear. He could be an amazing head coach. He hasn't been one. Ben Johnson could be an amazing head coach. He hasn't been one. Schottenheimer in Dallas could be an amazing head coach. He hasn't been one. The truth is, just because you haven't been one doesn't make you not likely to be a good head coach, but it is a lot harder than people think to just say, oh, I'm a good offensive coordinator. Hasn't anybody been watching Miami, Mike McDaniel over in Miami? Because he's a great offensive mind, but he's a piss-poor coach. Shanahan over in San Francisco, his offensive coordinating has got them the championship game, the Super Bowl, but his head coaching is piss poor. And a lot of fans, 50% of them, finally acknowledge that what I've been saying for 2 to 3 years now is absolutely true. Half the Niner fan base agrees with me. Go into a Niner chat talking about Shanahan, they'll say, get rid of Shanahan. It's time to go. You know what people were saying last year? The same thing people were saying about Tomlin last year. You can't fire a winning coach. Tomlin's in the playoffs every single year. This year, what are people saying about Tomlin? That he should be fired. Or at least, it's not that he's bad. We need to move on. That's what Steeler fans are saying overwhelmingly. The same thing is being said about Shanahan over in San Francisco. People yelled at me. They screamed at me. They said I was an idiot. I didn't know what I was talking about. Look at him. He keeps bringing this team to a championship game. And you want to what? You want to get rid of Shanahan after this abysmal year where he mismanaged everything again and all his players keep getting hurt and his runners keep getting hurt time and time again. Every year his running back stable goes down, all of them. He could have 5 of them, 6 of them deep. They're all injured. Shanahan runs his players into the ground. There's a lot of bad that comes with Shanahan. So, everybody's saying Kyle Shanahan shouldn't be fired. It's hilarious. Okay, so Liam Cohen will call plays in Jacksonville. What a sidebar I went on that one. I apologize. Sometimes I go on a little escapade on a different path. Brian Schottenheimer, to walk this back slightly, Coach Schottenheimer will call the offensive plays in Dallas as well. He's never called offensive plays before. I don't know how I feel about this. He's been around football for, as Jerry Jones put it, 30 years. He comes from good pedigree. His father, Schottenheimer, who is no longer with us, God rest his soul, is hopefully with this guy. And I believe that he has been brought up to do a job that I believe Jerry believes he could do. I'm not 100% sold. I am excited about how I believe he comes across to players, and he seems like a player's coach. He seems like a guy that I think all the players are behind. It feels like an Aaron Glenn rising up to be if Aaron Glenn rose up to be the Detroit Lion head coach, and let's say they just moved on from Campbell, I believe the amount of support overwhelmingly by the players would be not as great, but similar in a way that this team likes Schottenheimer, who's been there. He's been there for 3 years, and I think there's something to this. There's definitely some upside here, but the risk is almost greater. It's kind of like a bucket, or a scale, if you will. There's a bucket of risk and a bucket of upside. There's certainly upside here. I don't want to close the door on the situation to the point where people are afraid to draft CeeDee Lamb. He's been there for 3 years. The offense will march forward. The question is, will the team win? The question is, will this team just end up being in a similar situation where they've got a 50-50 record at the end of the year? They're trying to find a way to squeak into the playoffs but don't get in, and the team doesn't win. Like, Jerry's a penny-pinching, bad decision maker in his old age. He doesn't seem to want to win. I don't know why Jerry doesn't go after Deion Sanders and create some excitement, and that will be some allure to bring in other free agent players. Maybe a guy like T. Higgins would be ushering a trade, a franchise tag and trade, and say, I'll sign a deal with Deion Sanders. Deion's exciting. Whether you believe he'll work out, is Deion Sanders coming to the NFL after a very successful stint in college, exciting everybody, rising to amazing potential top 5 players up into this top 5 NFL draft class. Shedeur Sanders probably going in the top 5, and Travis Hunter maybe going number 1. Does that not feel like a better risk to take than Schottenheimer? The answer is yes. How cheap can you get Schottenheimer? What was his contract? It's not what a guy like Deion would probably command. It's not what a big-time Ben Johnson would command. And then now he's penny pinching again. He goes after Jerry just when I want to kind of like say, I'm hopeful about Schottenheimer, and I almost want to wait and see before I cast too much judgment because I think he could be okay. Jerry goes and sticks his foot right up his rear end and leaves the shoe in there. Tom Pelissero reports the Cowboys are expected to hire, fired, and shoved out and thrown out to the streets. Everybody hated him, Nick Sorensen, for their vacant special teams coordinator position. Okay, you're like, okay, special teams, I can live with that. Maybe Schottenheimer's still good. Maybe Sorensen's going to just kind of be, maybe they won't even give him a parking spot or an iPad. They just kind of send him in the corner. But they bring in probably the worst option on the table for this position, right? Wrong. There was a worse option. I forgot he was there. I apologize. You may go now, Sorensen. Let me head over to the worst possible option that this team could have went after. Matt Eberflus. Probably one of the worst coaches in the entire National Football League. Jerry decides to hire him as his defensive coordinator. NFL Network reports, Tom Pelissero reports the Cowboys have hired former Bears loser head coach Matt Eberflus, I'm scared of my own shadow, as their defensive coordinator. Jerry just crapped the bed twice before changing the sheets. You got to give him credit. Why change the sheets? Why do it? Why not just drop another deuce right there? Because it's going to become a mess anyway. I don't know what in the hell he's doing. Look at this circus of I would say Schottenheimer by himself with a good staff, a good defensive coordinator. I'd be kind of excited. I'd be kind of but a lot of risk, but a good offensive coordinator. Let's bring in a guy that like Ryan Grubb, who maybe was not ready, but he's proven in college. Ryan Grubb's proven in college. Okay, totally proven. Kellen Moore wouldn't come over as an offensive coordinator, but you get what I'm trying to paint a picture about. You bring in an exciting OC. You've got Schottenheimer to become some sort of raw lightning rod culture setter, and he is that. If I'm going to give Schottenheimer any credit, a lot of where my excitement, that's little, might come from is that he's a very, very good players coach, and they love him. Good rah-rah, good lightning rod. This is what you want at the top if you have a great offensive coordinator. If you got a great offensive coordinator. He's calling the plays, though, so the offensive coordinator almost doesn't matter anymore. Matt Eberflus as the defensive coordinator. What kind of Shiat show is this? Here's your coaching circle over in Dallas. What in the hell are we doing? Is there a shot, as some of you, one of you is saying in here, defense, maybe Eberflus ain't that bad. We'll see. We'll see what he can do. I know a lot of you think he has potential as just a defensive coordinator. All I'm merely pointing out is Jerry is trying to hire the cheapest possible options. Maybe Eberflus isn't harmful in the defensive coordinator spot. Maybe he does okay. Maybe he does. It's certainly possible. There's coaches that have been piss poor head coaches. This guy doesn't know his left foot from his right foot when it comes to those types of decisions, but maybe he'll do well again from this perspective. I'm not saying it's impossible, but what kind of Shiat show are we looking at here? This is what you came up with? The two fired, moved on, nobody wants them coaches with a total unknown? I'm hopeful because the offense and the team is so good. And for anybody who wants to throw a lot of shade, and say, I remember defense was good under. Yeah, that's what Arthur. I get it. I get that you guys think there's some hope maybe of him returning to a role where he can manage, everything. And I just said that. But at the end of the day, you've got to sit here and scratch your head and say, why is this the trio that he pulled in? Fired coach, failed, and unknown. It's a lot of unknowns. It's just not a very smart way to build a tree. But I believe that Dak and Lamb, maybe they spend money and surprise us. Probably doubtful that they would pull out all the stops for a T Higgins or something like that. But this is something that's a little head scratching. I am hopeful to a degree that maybe Schottenheimer is better than we all think. Jerry seems to love him, but Jerry will talk up anything he does. So it's hard to know if there's any genuine, feelings about, his gut feeling with Schottenheimer. We got to give Jerry some credit. Jimmy Jones, like there have been some good gut instincts he's had. He was very quick to point that out to everybody. But there is some truth to Jerry Jones having some good decision-making skills in the past. But lately, it's been lacking. And so when you see a coaching tree like that, it scares the piss out of you. Deion Sanders was not even talked to. That proves to me that he's not serious about really exhausting. He's a big excuse maker, Jerry Jones. He even has this defense mechanism where he knows and reads everything. I wouldn't be shocked if he just came on and said, yeah, I just want to address a few things from that show that was going to talk about ADPs. He reads and watches everything. He does, because he talks about stuff that no one's even at. The press conference, the reporters didn't even ask him a question, and he responded to the trending negativity about him not taking a risk. He's like, and for those of you who don't think this is a risk, and it's like, whoa, how do you know that was trending on Twitter? On X, it's like, Jerry, not taking risk, trending on Twitter. This guy knew. He's reading everything. He's consuming everything. He says, this is the biggest risk you could take is Schottenheimer. He's not a head coach or whatever. He says that he's exhausted. He went out and said, I've exhausted this process because you don't have to go out and interview everybody to know. I've exhausted over my years, blah, 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 blah. He just goes in circles like this. Just circles. And then he doesn't, he's addressing this. Well, why didn't you interview Deion Sanders? Because he wanted to exhaust his inner circle is basically what he's saying. And he decided he felt so strongly about Schottenheimer, he's going to move on. I'm going to be hoping that Schottenheimer, because he has a great pedigree, and he does seem like a really genuine person, and he feels like he's a Campbell. I just hope to God they have the right pieces in place from Schottenheimer down offensively. It all jibes together well for them to keep this well-oiled machine moving. And I hope that he's a much better play caller than we know, because we don't know anything. He's never play called. So this is a big mistake. Deion Sanders should have been considered. Why are people overlooking Deion Sanders? I don't know. Feels very much like the doubt of Lamar Jackson when Lamar was not. Nobody wanted him as their quarterback, and I'm not even the biggest Lamar Jackson fan, and I was the only content creator just beating a dead horse on the topic. Why is a franchise tag Lamar Jackson not being plucked off the Ravens roster? You guys are all out of your minds. I feel like this is the same thing with Deion Sanders. There's so much upside to bringing that kind of rising media star to the podium. You know, you want to sell tickets and excite fan base. There you go. You know, and I believe he's got a lot to prove, and I like Deion a lot. Trevor Lawrence, Liam Cohen says the team will be built all around Trevor. Trevor is the focal point. I hope that's true, and I hope Liam does a bang-up job. Better than his All County. Like, that was just horrible. It was horrible. It was worse than the Bears. George Pickens. Art Rooney said the team would address the wide receiver position. Good. This guy, I don't know what he's doing back there. I don't trust him. I don't know that he trusts himself. I don't think anybody should trust him. His ADP, we'll see where it is in a second. Terry McLaurin, The Athletic writes that McLaurin's agent is set to seek a new deal, as he should. This guy's been put on the back burner for a while. He doesn't have a lot of time left, and his agent's smart for saying, look, you're valuable now. No one knew it. No one knew it, but we did. We knew he was valuable. We said McLaurin would cook, and McLaurin cooked.
Let him cook.
Damn straight. We told you McLaurin would cook. We told you Kingsbury would cook. We told you JD5 wasn't just a top 5 potential quarterback. We said JD5 in January, even before that, was a top 1 to 5 quarterback. JD5, Kingsbury, McLaurin, the whole team cooked, and they're going to cook again next year.
Let him cook.
Brian Daboll. Oh, Kingsbury. Kingsbury stay with Washington. We already reported that. Kingsbury to stay with Washington Commanders. Daboll. New York Post is reporting that there's a strong kind of vibe inside the organization right now that Daboll should give up and surrender his play calling duties and focus on the things that he's not doing right. Similar things that we fear Liam Cohen might not do right, or Ben Johnson might not do right, or that Shanahan hasn't been doing right, or that Mike McDaniel in Miami hasn't done right. Being a head coach is tough. You're running a kitchen. You're running a hostess station. You're hiring. You're firing. You're doing the marketing, the P&L, and cooking is the offensive coordinating. You can't calling plays and being in the kitchen. You just can't. You gotta be a very special coach to be able to call plays, be essentially the offensive coordinator and the head coach. And there's just not very many coaches that can pull it off. And Daboll's probably biting off more than he can chew. And it's probably why he let the quarterback position slip through the cracks, because this guy made Josh Allen. I'm not saying Josh Allen wasn't. Before he took a snap, I said Josh Allen would be a top 1 to 5 quarterback.
Let him cook.
So that was known, but this guy developed him. Everybody coming out of Josh Allen's rookie year, he'll never be a good thrower. He's garbage. He's a horrible thrower. And he was, like, statistically, he was a horrible thrower his rookie year. He's just a running quarterback. All he'll ever be is a Taysom Hill type player. And this show, your boy said he was not 5. He was 1 to 5. Josh Allen would be a 1 to 5 quarterback before taking a snap. This guy had a big part of it, of that. But to think Danny Dimes is his quarterback, it kind of shakes our belief in the foundation of this concept that Daboll will bring another elite rising star quarterback to the fantasy football forefront when he thought Danny Dimes was his guy. That makes me question this man. I don't know if this guy could bathe himself. I don't know if he could feed himself. I don't know if he is responsible enough to own a driver's license. Like, how can this guy take care of himself when he doesn't even understand that Danny Dimes is a piece of garbage quarterback. He's not a starter. He never will be. And somehow, some way, this is what he thought. So that makes me a little fearful about maybe he's turned around. Maybe we just got to turn him around, send him in the right direction, and Daboll can laser focus. Hey, there's my quarterback. Give him the quarterback. Maybe someone's got to hand him the play calling. Take care of that. Daboll can't do that, right? Okay, let's give him a quarterback. Shador or Ward or Fields. Here you go, Daboll. I went and got them for you, and Daboll focuses, gets them on their horse, and gets them on their way. I'm hoping that's kind of what's going on. He's not good at doing it all. Slip through the cracks. Give him Justin Fields, and Fields will cook.
Let him cook.
Give Daboll Cam Ward or Shador, they will cook.
Let him cook.
Daboll, do your job. Do your job, Daboll. Time to get to the ADP part of this show, then open the phone lines. This ADP data show should excite the hell out of you because there's a lot to take in. There's a lot of information. This will be one of the most valuable shows, if not the most valuable show we've had all year long. So far, they'll progressively knock one off because tomorrow might be better than today. But right now, I'm telling you, what we're about to learn and experience together is going to rock your world. And here, right in front of you, are the top 29 players on current underdog ADP, which there's hundreds and hundreds of drafts that have already taken place, maybe thousands. And so we've got the data sitting here. Jamar Chase, comfortable one spot. However, Barkley's getting in the mix. I think Barkley's big games got everybody excited. That kind of made him move above Bijan and Gibbs. But this was the top four, essentially. And I think this is probably going to not change at all. I mean, we predicted this pretty much to a T the other night. Chase, Barkley, Bijan, Gibbs, JJ, Puka. And then you start talking about, is someone going to get crafty and take Nico over Lamb? And Lamb goes down a spot and you get Lamb at 8. St. Brown down at 11's a pretty good steal. Could St. Brown go above Lamb? Could Collins go above Lamb? Could HN or BT maybe go above Lamb? Maybe. Could Henry climb up? Henry seems like to be a good value. Where we wanted Henry was the 12-13 turn. So Henry fell exactly where we wanted. My surprise number 6 was Malik Neighbors. And he, like this, if you want to take away, if you need to walk away right now, you got to go change the diapers. The wife's yelling at you to take out the trash and you haven't done the dishes for 2 weeks and you got to go. You can come back and rewatch the replay. If you had to walk out of the room right now and you said, Smitty, give me something, I'm walking out, it would be Malik Neighbors is my top 6 overall player, and he's going all the way down at 13. Doubles his value, if you ask me, in 2020. Doubles his value.
Let him cook.
Doubles his value in 2025. Unbelievable. And why I don't have a Malik Neighbors emoji yet is beyond me. I'll work on that. That's on me. That one's on me. My first lap of the year.
Take a big lap. We don't need your hating ass coming back now.
All right. I'll work on that ASAP. Let's get to the rest of this ADP. So after JJ, which is very understandable at 5, very predictable. Puka at 6, we knew that was coming. CeeDee Lamb is where I want to focus right now. Again, there are so many players that are going to be conversation pieces and breakouts and believe in them, don't believe in them. St. Brown, Christian McCaffrey, Derrick Henry. Some will move Neighbors up. BT, probably mostly though, it will be Nico and St. Brown. So St. Brown and Nico most likely to move CeeDee Lamb down a spot or 2 in your draft if you're so lucky. To get CeeDee Lamb at 7, 8, or 9, but especially 8 or 9, and especially 9. like triple stamp, a double stamp. You get CeeDee Lamb at number 9.
Get lambed.
I mean, what else do you got to do? You get Lamb at 9. I quit my job and I come work for you. That's what I do. That's what I do.
Let him cook.
Back's doing a little bit better. So Devon Achane, we figured could go around 10, 11, 12. He's going at 11.3. St. Brown is kind of shocking at 11. He's normally in I've been projecting him to be around this Nico BT area. I thought St. Brown would go ahead of BT, so that's a little bit shocking. Why is Bucky so low? What did I tell all of you when I said Bucky could go in the 3rd round? And everybody in here called me insane. Smitty, Bucky's not coming out of the 2nd round. I said we're happier and more excited about Bucky than the average crowd. Don't ruin my Bucky conversation. Okay? Bucky's coming up, so hang tight. Amon-Ra surprisingly low though, and that's a very good value. You get St. Brown and Neighbors back to back. What are we doing? This is Mickey Mouse stuff right here. This is absolute Mickey Mouse stuff. Malik Neighbors and Amon-Ra back to back. Christian McCaffrey has no business being at 12 overall. What in the hell is this? Why are we drafting Christian McCaffrey at 12 overall? We're not. That's the rest of the world. They can take a big fat lap. That's ridiculous.
Take a big lap.
Get lamb. Wrong. Muy mal.
Alert. Stand down order in effect.
You draft Christian McCaffrey with one of your top 12 picks. You make him your first or bookend second drafted player, and your mom's ashamed of you. Your mom is absolutely ashamed of you. I'm ashamed of you. We have secondhand embarrassment, as we always talk about on this channel, and that's the worst, bro. When someone does something, you're not even related to it, and you're just embarrassed. Like, how are you embarrassing me? This has nothing to do with me. Why am I embarrassed right now? You want to take McCaffrey with your first drafted player or your second drafted player at the bookend spot? Philly thinks he's in here. I'm gonna get Smitty right now. Philly, this isn't getting me. You didn't like strike a nerve. You didn't hit a home run. No one agrees. I remember when you told me to take a big fat lap like 2 years ago when I said Justin Fields is trash. Bro, what about Justin Fields' path and journey do you not understand? Like, this wildest takes to me when people don't even, it's not even, Philly, it's not even worth addressing. The guy hasn't been given anything yet. You don't think he played well last year? Without even having the keys to the starting lineup, he was literally running another man's offense in another man's pair of shoes, size 8. Fields wears 14 wide. And he was told to get in Russell Wilson's little size 8 shoes and drive his little Mazda, 2-seater, and navigate this offense. And he did a damn good job. So I don't know, Philly, what you think you proved. You didn't prove nothing, bro.
Take a big lap.
All right. Unbelievable. Okay, back to reality. Neighbor's steal of the entire ADP at this point. Henry's pretty good. Like I said, I'm not drafting Henry in 50% of my leagues, even at this value. 40%, no. I'll take him in like 10%, 5% of leagues, or maybe 5% of leagues. And in best ball, like if I'm drafting a ton and he keeps going there 5% of the time, that's not a lot. That just means I want some ownership of Derrick Henry at the first round, second round turn. So I definitely take him here. This is fine. Neighbors Henry, Amon-Ra Henry, Achane Henry, that's pretty good value. Or CeeDee Lamb and Derrick Henry if like something like that happens. Okay. Wow, what a great first round, or first round and a couple picks. Going over to look at wow, just wow is all I gotta say. First of all, there's a big separation in ADP. Is this correct? Does it go from 13.7 to 17? Like, what that tells you is that there's a hard line there. When you see a differential of that amount from 13 all the way to 17, let me just make sure that's correct. 13, it is. It's correct. That means that there's not a lot of like right here, Neighbors and McCaffrey, Neighbors and Henry, they're going to flip-flop a lot. But Henry going past Brock Bowers, this is almost like a hard line. So McConkey, Bowers, Drake London, it's like a tier break above them. Not saying that they won't outscore the other. You don't see Breece Hall. It's because I told you, Beta. Like I told everyone. Everyone in here came in and is like, Breece Hall is going in the second round on ESPN. Don't look at ESPN. ESPN is not even updated. I told you Breece Hall would be an absolute steal. Breece Hall is going in the third round. I told all of you to pump the brakes on expecting anything but third round value for Breece Hall. His risk is baked in. I did an entire video on it, Beta. So, of course, you don't see Breece Hall because he was never going to be in the second round. He was going to sit in the third round and be an absolute steal. In the video I have for Breece Hall, full circle, here we are. Remember when we used to laugh at the fact that the old video still said third round? Oh, wouldn't that be nice? He's back in the third round. I don't even have to change the video.
Breece Hall is 8 foot tall. He will always answer the mother freaking call. Don't let him fall. In the third, don't stall. Just give Batman the freaking football.
In the third, don't stall.
He's Breece.
Unbelievable. He's in the third round again. That's just what I predicted. It's what I told you it would be. Kyren Williams, absolute steal. Where's Kyren Williams? Exactly where I told you he'd be. Doubted again. Not even sitting here. Kyren Williams and Breece Hall are outside the top 30 overall. You can do a draft right now and get Breece Hall and Kyren Williams both in round 3. What are we doing back there? What are we doing back there? All right, you guys are sidetracking me, okay? Brock Bowers, 17. Better than round 1. I'll take a couple shares of 17 overall value. What I won't do is draft him in round 1. Lad McConkey, it's just too high for me. I like him a lot. I can't see myself owning a lot of Lad shares at that, we're talking about so close. He's butting up right against the bottom of round 2 or round 1 at the top of round 2. I can't do it. I like him a lot. If he was a 3.1, I'd take him. I'm not taking him at the top of 2 or anywhere near the top of 2. Drake London, I like the value. It's pretty decent. 18. Ashton Genty, I love it at 19. Give me a Genty at 19 all day long. If I had to call out the top value so far, you're talking about Lamb is one of the better ones. The best one of them all is mother freaking Malik Neighbors at 13. He should be in the top 6. Love Achan's value, very safe at the 1-2 turn, at the 12-13 turn. JJ's still nice at 5, believe it or not. I like that value. It's still very protected. Brock Bowers is solid. It's actually a lot more solid than we thought. He could go 10, 11, 12. No, not so fast, 17. Ashton Genty might be next. My next favorite value, 19. JT's pretty good at 19.9. I like that a lot. Josh Allen's deserving at 20. Don't even embarrass yourself by saying, oh, Josh Allen, who would take a quarterback early? We would take a quarterback early.
Let him cook.
A.J. Brown, deservedly so to fall, but he's still second drafted player material. It's still a high price tag, but we don't know what's in store for him, man. They're not throwing to him anymore. Jalen Hurts he had a good game last week. What will he do this week? He just hasn't been throwing the ball. Other than last week, he hasn't, for months, has not been throwing the ball. So we don't know what A.J. Brown's target share or opportunity is going to look like, especially with the potential knee injuries that are coming downstream. Jacobs at 23.3 is great value. Chase Brown at the 2-3 turn. There you go. You don't have to spend a high second round pick. You can get Chase Brown essentially at top of round 3 value now that he's at the 24-25 pick. He's a bookend pick at second to third round. Lamar Jackson, great value in the third round. Bucky Irving, Bucky Irving, 25. Smitty, there's no way Bucky's going to fall to the third round. Smitty, he's just too good. People are going to take him maybe at the 1-2 turn at 12, 13, 14. I'd take Bucky at 14. Of course you would, because we're Bucky people. But the rest of the world doesn't see through the lenses that we see through. We predicted Bucky. We showed you. We told you about Bucky. Make sure you take advantage of people that don't take Bucky baths like we do. We take Bucky baths. Everybody else doesn't take a bath. We take the baths. We told you. We told you.
Get buckied. Buckied.
Bucky. Oh, Bucky.
Yeah.
What in the heck? We told you about Bucky. We told you. Enjoy the show. Okay, back on over to the ADP. McBride's damn good value at 27. T. Higgins, I don't mind that. I start spending, T. Higgins type draft capital there. James Cook, solid. Nothing wrong with that value. James Cook is totally proven. All right, let's get we got so far. Recapping best values of the board so far. Lamb I like as a 2 or 3 top value at 7-8. That's where he's going to go. We've got Achance good value. We've got the best value in the draft so far with Neighbors at 13. He could double that. He could be number 6, number 5, number 4. He could be the number 2 overall player. He could be the number 1 overall wide receiver, and he's going at 13 overall. If there's nothing you hear from me today, it is that can win you a league bigger than any of these other landing spots. Ashton Genty's ADP landing spot at 19 is win a league type value. JT's nice. Josh Allen's deserving. Chase Brown is packaged in very nicely. Bucky can win you a league at 25. Bucky at 25. What do we say? Okay, so we're caught up there. Ready for more excitement? Yeah, because that Neighbors value might just get knocked off by these two gentlemen. Breece Hall, 29. Breece Hall. Does anybody know that round 3 starts at 25? Carry the 1. 25 overall. 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. We're talking about almost the middle of the 3rd round. Unbelievable. JD5 almost near the end of the 3rd round. Kyren Williams is literally 3 picks away from the tail end of round 3, and he had a magnificent season. Kyren, there's no player, correct me if I'm wrong, there's no player in NFL history, but maybe one, that has scored, what has he scored? He's 16 total 31 total touchdowns, I believe, in the first 2 starting seasons. I think maybe one, if none, have ever done what Kyren Williams has done. 31 touchdowns. 31 touchdowns in his first 2 years starting for his team. I don't know if that's ever been done. If it has, it's by 1 or 2 players. And at the top of my head, I don't think anybody's, maybe one person. Maybe one person. And we're disrespecting Kyren. What are you doing? What are all of you doing that have contributed to this absolutely phenomenally good ADP data that we relish in? You got Kyren Williams at 33, 3 picks away from the bottom of round 3. What are we doing? Kyren Williams, are you out of your minds?
He's Kyren, he's 7 feet tall, and he knows how to handle a ball. He's Kyren, he can take frowns and turn them upside down with his touchdowns.
I mean, is anybody else excited about this? Is anybody else absolutely just floored by this value? DJ Moore's pretty good. Evans is risky, but the value's good. Hurts is great value. Fantasy NFL, very different. Hurts has great value there. Marvin Harrison Jr. surprisingly higher than I wanted, but that's, you can still do something from that for sure. You could have a 10 touchdown season very easily, even getting ignored. Worthy climbing up, getting some damn respect. Put some respect on our boy Worthy, please. Can we get some respect on this rising star, Xavier Worthy? Really coming into his own.
Xavier Worthy, your wide receiver from the combine.
He can't catch.
He has hands.
Just fast. Many say he won't make it at the next level.
Enough. Watch me. I must go back and make it right.
Xavier Worthy.
He can't catch. Just fast. He won't make it.
Catch this. Great catch. Wow, nice catch. He's not overrated catching the ball.
He can really catch.
So,
Chiefs season. Lambs is
yeah, Chief season. There you go. You hear it in the background. The touchdowns didn't come, but it's Chief seasons for sure. Okay, so this is the ADP data right now. I'm gonna pull over the next round and go over that round as well. So we've got Lamb. We have Achance good. St. Brown's really good value. Neighbors is the steal of the draft, potentially up to this point over here, and he's still there for me. Bucky, one of the biggest steals of the ADP data. McBride's fantastic value. Ashton Genty is great value. Good thing he's not going at the 1-2 turn. He's going at 19. Breece Hall, maybe the steal of the ADP data. We've got Kyron Williams almost in the 4th round. What are we doing? This is good. Tyreek Hill's interesting here at 40, but I still don't know that that's by any means a lock, right? When you get there, you're like, do I actually do it, though? Like, it's good, decent place to maybe take a gamble, but do I actually do it? All right, here is the 42 through 57. Is there a bet? Can I ask a question? An honest question. Is there a better? There is none. There's nobody that breaks down ADP better than this channel. And we're going to do it on a regular series every single week, maybe multiple times per week going forward. And sometimes we'll focus on one player. Sometimes we'll focus on quarterbacks. Sometimes we'll focus on tight ends. So it won't be the same boring format of an ADP show. But no one does this shit like we do. This is the most valuable video you could possibly watch up to this point through January 28th. Rashee Rice. Yeah, Rashee Rice, I know a lot of you want him to be, this absolute monster this year. And he could be. He's at 52. So the value is pretty nicely baked in. But he's coming back from a major knee injury. He's also probably going to get a 2 to 6 game suspension. Might just be a 2-game suspension. But let's not forget that he could be out 2 to 6 games. Probably more like 2. I think the NFL is at this point, it's kind of like become a distant memory, so that's good for him. Joe Burrow at freaking, what is this value here? Joe Burrow at 44 is fantastic. J-Mo at 47 is great. Mahomes at 52 is fantastic. Addison, I kind of like that at 53, to be honest. DK at 54. Guys, this is a year where we literally can build this team. This is crazy. Let me put this mock draft away because that data is better than that one now. This is a year where you could literally draft Jamar Chase, and this is Jamar Chase, Kyron, and Bucky, and still get a guy like let's see here. You could still get potentially a DK and McLaurin. And then your quarterback, if you were to wait on a quarterback in this particular situation, you could easily go get yourself. I mean, you could maybe even have Mahomes here. You could maybe even... This is insane, especially in a non-best ball where you could trade a little bit. Like, this is a pretty good team that you could construct with these later players. It's unbelievable the kind of value you can pull off with this ADP data right now, which is why I urge you all to go over to Underdog, promo code Smitty. Link is pinned in the live chat. Link is in the description. We got 20 gifted memberships by New Age Outlaws. New Age, are you still here, bro? I'm so sorry I didn't see that until right now. I've been ranting and raving about the ADP steals, and I didn't even see New Age Outlaw, who dropped 20 gifted memberships. New Age, please tell me you're still here, my boy. Please tell me you're still here. If anybody got a gifted membership from New Age, please thank him right now. And New Age to the mother freaking, let's put him to Jupiter.
To Jupiter.
New Age, where you at, bro? Tell me you're still here, pal. Tell me you're still here. DK Steele, Marion Hampton, freaking fantastic value right there. Scattaboo, where's Scattaboo? I'll tell you where, downstream. And I love that. Scattaboo outside the top 60, love it. New Age is here. New Age is here. New Age.
To Jupiter.
Thank you for dropping those 20 gifted memberships. Guys, give them a thank you. That's unbelievable. And I fixed my alert, so if anybody else drops a super chat or a gifted membership, it will show up now. I'm sorry about that. Amarian Hampton's great value. Laporta, 54, fantastic value. Ted McMillan, 54 for Ted McMillan. I like that. You could get DK, Ted McMillan, and like Scattaboo with your, I don't know, I'd say like your 5th, 6th, and 7th round picks potentially in a grandma league. It's crazy. It's crazy. There's no Scattaboo to be found. He's an absolute steal. Hampton's a steal right now. Now, these players will rise in ADP as the combine and landing spots are handed out. But what a freaking ADP. What a freaking ADP. Dial into the show. Appreciate you all.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Dial in. Let's discuss this ADP data. Unbelievable. Like, this was a great day to wake up. I'm even on the clock in like a bunch of slow drafts. Okay, so let me show you what I'm working with over here. Active drafts upcoming. These are my teams so far. I only threw one round. Got the 11 pick in this draft, hoping Lamb falls to the 11 pick. I've got Jamar Chase in about 4 of the 11 or 12 that I've got running right now. I got Gibbs in 1. I've got Barkley in 1. I've got Lamb in 1. I think I have JJ in 1. I'm mixing it up with this particular run of drafts. But the little board and big board are out. The little board's $3 on Underdog. That link is pinned in the live chat. The link is in the description of the video. Code Smitty also gets it done. And using code Smitty or the links that I just told you about get you 50% match up to $1,000. So you drop 100, they give you 50. You drop the minimum of $10, they give you 5. But call in to discuss this ADP data. The phone lines are open. Kev, it's from Underdog, bro. So Kev, click that link that's pinned in the live chat. Click it, sign up. Measly $10 minimum, bro. They'll match it 50%, and then you'll have access to the ADP rankings on there. You'll have access to whatever, but we'll be doing a ranking show weekly on this channel. We're gonna take over rankings. We're gonna take them over, baby. We're gonna take them over. We're gonna do it live. Dre from New Jersey, you're live, pal. What's up?
How you doing, Smitty? This is me, right, for Dre?
Yep, Dre, you're live.
How you doing? So I wanted to talk to you a little bit. Obviously, I want to talk about T. Higgins. That's not obviously, but I had him on my championship team, and so obviously I'm really interested in him this off season. If he bounces to, like, let's say a Patriots or, you know, a subpar team, non-playoff team, he's a wide receiver 1. How do you think that impacts the ADP?
I think it improves it. Like right now, you can see his ADP's 28 overall, so he's a 3rd rounder. He's about 4 picks deep into round 3. I think he could easily climb to the 2-3 turn in best ball, because best ball is wide receiver hungry. I don't know if he climbs much more than that, or even to top of round 3 in like a home league. I think people are smart enough to know that being the 2nd wide receiver in Joe Burrow's offense, catching footballs from Joe Burrow, might be better than being the number 1, even in a New England. Like it might be. It might be equal. It doesn't necessarily give him 2nd round value, but it might by others. It doesn't for me. And so I'm probably out on T. Higgins if I've got to spend second round value. I barely want to spend a third rounder on him. I don't mind spending a third rounder on him right now, even not knowing where he's going, because he's either going to go to New England or somewhere and be a one, or he's going to stay in a very potent offense, and I'm fine with that third round evaluation, especially when you get closer to the fourth round. The closer you can get to the fourth round, the more I like it. I'm okay with this. I don't love being 4 picks out of round number 2. But if anybody thinks he just jumps into the middle of the second round, and in my book he doesn't, he might for other people. I don't want any part of T. Higgins as a second drafted player. It sounds as bad as drafting Waddle in the second round last year and the year before, when I screamed from the rooftops 2 straight years in a row, "You're overdrafting Jalen Waddle." Continuously. It's like Deontay Johnson. Deontay Johnson went in the second and third round a couple years back. Him and Waddle, I don't understand it. There's too much risk. So I like T. He'll be a great conversation piece. I'll be rooting for him. I'll definitely be talking him up. I'll definitely be talking about the excitement and allure of a T. Higgins draft capital increasing where he goes. But to take him around 2 would be reckless.
For sure. And this might be a little bit early too, but my last question, what stacks are you excited about this year? When you're looking at all this data, all these guys,
The stack
you're making
above
your
all
team today, what
stacks.
stacks are you looking at?
I think that stacks are important, but they're extremely overrated. Even best ball. People that draft lesser players to stack are, in my opinion, doing it wrong. It doesn't mean that you can't find correlation. Here's the problem with the best ball community and the best ball world and the best ball data crunchers and the best ball content creators. They're very much like a club. Like it's weird. It's weird how all of these data crunchers really convince everybody to do the same approach and to take this. And then what you have is you have a majority of everybody playing best ball, and they're saturating, they're all maxing out draft. They're drafting wide receiver heavy. They're told wide receiver is the way to go. Clearly it wasn't last year. On this channel, I advise everyone to go running back for the most part, but best player available. But the best player available would oftentimes lead us down that road, or at least running back wide receiver or wide receiver running back. But running back proved to be amazing. And the thing is, the trends and the data is going to support a little bit of what the best ball community keeps shoveling, because so many people are doing it. When you have 70% of the entire best ball community overdrafting wide receivers, and 70% of the entire best ball community, if not 80, stacking players versus drafting best player available, guess what happens? Your winner is more likely, because you have so many more people in that bucket, more likely going to be potentially a stacker or drafting early wide receiver. And that's why it's skewed. And the data will always be skewed. If the majority of everybody are deploying a certain strategy, you got to find someone that breaks through all of it and wins. And that will happen, and it has happened. And it's happened. I think Best Ball Mania winner, 3 years ago went running back, I believe. And people were acting like, it can't be possible. Stacking's important. You just got to chew gum and walk at the same time. If you can draft Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow and stack that while drafting best player available, you are a seasoned veteran, and that's what your goal should be. But I would advise anybody getting into this, and I'm not saying you're just getting into it, Dre, but anybody watching that's just getting into this, or maybe you worry about drafting best player available first and then start lacing in and incorporating stacks and different things as you can. Week 17 correlations. Keep in mind that a week 17 correlation is more important than a stack all year long. There's so much that goes into that. And then you got a lot of people that say people that, that draft this week 17 correlation are more likely to be in the Super Bowl or be in the playoffs. But you also don't know, like, it's crazy because you got to win early on too. There's so many people doing it that these strategies of stacking and oversaturating these different ideas and concepts, they work out more often than not because of the sheer volume of people doing them. I would just tell you, sometimes I go against the grain on purpose. And in best ball, it's a better strategy, I think, to go against the grain when it makes sense. So if everybody's going wide receiver heavy and they're borrowing third round wide receivers into round 2, like last year, we have people drafting third round, very, very, very obvious third round players in round 2 that were wide receivers because everyone kept consuming the wide receivers to a crazy degree. There's more running backs spread out in this top 13 overall than really, anybody probably expected. I think people had such good success with the running back last year. They're going, oh crap. And that might be some topics you hear, like running back's the way to go this year because of last year. Stop worrying about last year. Last year has nothing to do with this year. You can use last year's data to help cultivate hey, this kind of strategy works if I believe running backs of value, or this kind of strategy works if I believe receivers of value. But don't use last year's data to draft a team. That is the dumbest concept I've ever heard. You can use it as an accoutrement, an accessory, a guide. So stacks, bro, I mean, I there's a lot of stacks that I like, but you talk about some of the best stacks in football, it's Burrow, it's Burrow and Jamar Chase, and it's a very affordable stack too. The worst stacks are the ones you got to spend a first and a second rounder for. Like back in the day, it was like you take Mahomes in round 2 and you had to take Kelsey in round 1. Like you're spending so much of your draft capital already on one team in one set. Chase, you got to spend top dollar on, but Burrow you can get later. And that affords you to have one of the best stacks in football with only touching one of your early picks. So to me, stacking is more important that way. And I'd more so tell you to stack week 17 correlations than I would tell you to stack players on the same team. That it doesn't, like, unless it's like I'd rather have a better quarterback than have Goff with St. Brown. I could give two shits about having Goff and St. Brown together. I just don't care. I don't care. I don't care if it won. The guy that won last year had it. I don't care. I'm not drafting Goff because he correlates. He's a stack with St. Brown. Give me the better quarterback. And the fact is, I'm going to have other quarterbacks that will rotate. So I'm not even relying upon one quarterback. And I had JD5 last year with Josh Allen, or et cetera, et cetera. So just be careful trying to force stacks, bro. And there's not as many stacks. Like A.J. Brown and Hurts, we don't even know what A.J. Brown is right now. We don't know what he's going to be. Is Chase Brown and Burrow a Penix Jr. London? I like that a lot. That's pretty good. JD5 McLaurin's pretty reasonable stack that you can, get pretty late in the draft. The stacks are a little bit slimmer this year than others. What's your favorite stack so far?
I think I'm on board with you as far as like looking at guys like JD5 and Joe Burrow, and this was my first year, so I'm going into my second year. So I was seeing all your little videos of the stack above all stacks, and those were great, and that stack helped me win, So that's why I wanted to talk about it, because with quarterbacks, some of them going really high, it's like, oh snap! Well, I might have to go to a guy. I might have to pivot to a guy like Burrow or JD5, and would it make more sense? So to go look for other guys.
What I think? On that team. What I think will be crafty this year is think of it on a different level, different levels to this, in different layers. Peel the onion back a little bit. So if we're talking about what's a creative stack, think deeper. Lamb and Dak as your second quarterback. Now you've got this crazy stack that has nothing to do with your Josh Allen or whatever, but like try and lace in some sort of creative, stacks that don't necessarily rely on the other piece. Lamb and your Josh Allen, Lamb and your JD5, that will suffice the majority of the time. But there will be weeks where Lamb and Dak explode, and that's a creative stack that does not have the same ring to it, the same cost of entry, and the same reliance upon it working.
That's actually really good insight. Maybe do a stack later if it comes to you.
It's like a peripheral stack. I think maybe is what we'll coin it. We'll coin it a peripheral stack. I like that. All right, my boy.
All right, thanks.
We'll see you later, Dre. We got some super chats flying in. A peripheral stack, ladies and gentlemen, coined here on the channel right now. Need a video about MHJ winning leagues in round 4. Look, there's definitely value there. I would even like him a little bit later, just, you know, to package in more risk. Like 5th or 6th round would be amazing. But 4th, I'm willing to spend some 4th round value on MHJ. I still believe in him. Sometimes we're a year early on this channel. New Age Outlaw, not only dropping 20 gifted memberships, but a $5 hauler says, what's your opinion on Diggs and Cup ADP on Underdog? Is it worth a gamble? Yeah, I mean, their values are really insanely low, so there's nothing wrong. Let me search Diggs. Diggs is going at flipping, where is he going? Really far down there, bro. I don't even know if I can find it. Hold on, where is it at? Is he really? Cooper Kupp, 117 overall. I mean, why not? Especially before he ends up in a new home. He'll climb to like 80 or 90 overall, mark my words. If he goes to a good home, if he goes to KC or he goes to Washington. Cooper Kupp will climb to the 80s or 90s, which some of you may not want to spend that amount of draft capital cost-wise, cost of entry-wise, and that's fine. But right now, if you can get Cooper Kupp at 117 and Diggs at 108, this is the time to take your Cooper Kupp and Diggs shares. If you're going to avoid them all year, at least do it now when they cost you nothing. And if it works out, you've got a Cooper Kupp, you know, for half a year or whatever. But Kupp at 120, 117, 118, Diggs in the hundreds, those are decent bets to bank on. Thank you, New Age. Good topics for sure. And this is what the ADP series is going to be about. And I'll put the ADP series on the YouTube homepage on its own row, and we'll start cranking out these ADP videos, because I think we need them at least once a week. And again, it doesn't have to be just going over the whole entire thing. It could be late ADP gems, mid-round ADP gems, early gems, ADP avoids, ADP quarterback show, ADP wide receiver show, ADP tight end, ADP running back show. I can create a different show that doesn't have anything to do with the other show every single week, if not multiple times per week. I will be your ADP video show source. Mark my words. Mark it down. One more phone call, and we will be back tonight to draft on Underdog. Okay, one more phone call. Hit me with it. Dial in. Do it live, and then we'll be back.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
This is great data, guys. This is a good day today. Today is a good day. There's not even a lot on here that I'm going, damn it, you know, why is he too high? There really isn't. I'm actually quite shocked that this ADP data, which is very accurate right now, does not have anything that's screaming, damn it, we're not going to get him at a good value. These are great values. McBride at 27 overall. We're talking about being a third round like lock. Bucky, a third round, top of round 3 lock right now. Chase Brown, the 2-3 turn. You can get Chase Brown and Bucky at 24 and 25 right now, and then get your Jamar Chase at 1. You could get Jamar. Look at what you can build from the 1 spot right now. This is kind of crazy and bizarre. You can get Jamar Chase, Bucky, and Chase Brown. And Burrow later on. You can get that. But even better than that, and I'm not saying I don't love Chase Brown. I'm not saying I don't love that. I'm not even saying I don't love Bucky. But you could also go Kyron and Hall if you wanted to. Like, that's a fantastic start. And then you could get DK later. Is that not a good team? Burrow, Jamar Chase stacked, and stacked appropriately and very solidly. Kyron, Breece Hall, DK. I'm drafting about 10 of these teams. That's an amazing start to a draft, because the risk in Kyron and Hall, if you even say there's a risk in Kyron at all, it's all baked in. You cuff both of them. You get DK at an extreme value. You got the number 1 wide receiver. You got a top 3 quarterback in Joe Burrow. You finished number 2 last year. This is an unbelievable start. This is going to cost you a first rounder. This is going to cost you, I mean, really, you're reaching for one of these guys because they're both third rounders. A second and a third rounder. DK Metcalf, we said, was like a 5th rounder roughly. Burrow, a 4th or a 5th rounder. You could draft all 5 of these guys Does anybody not see this as an amazing situation? If you don't like Breece Hall, put in Bucky Irving. You could take out Hall and put Bucky in. That's great. You're live, Vinny.
Yo, Smitty, I was just curious what your thoughts would be on Garrett Wilson for this year.
His ADP is not horrible, right? So that gives me a little bit of hope that if I can get this guy as a third drafted player, there's a lot of risk baked into that. I'm fine with that. Garrett Wilson, third round is fantastic. Garrett Wilson,
he's a talent and all that, but will Rodgers be fine?
We don't know if Rodgers is going to be the quarterback. We have no clue. Rodgers is maybe not going to be the quarterback. Aaron Glenn has not decided that yet, but I think Aaron Glenn means business, and I think he's going to get Fields, or if they do roll with Aaron as their backup plan, it's smart to have something, because if they can't get anything, bro, what are they going to do? But I do think Garrett Wilson, I mean, he produced enough to warrant this draft slot. So if we're talking about Garrett Wilson at last year's cost of entry, 14 overall, 13, 15, I don't like it. I'm out. But, bro, everything's about ADP, and Garrett Wilson's going at 4 picks away from the top of round 4. Any risk you have or concern is baked in. So you almost don't even need to ask the question. The only question is, hey, can he out-earn his value, or am I getting this value back in return? He's going to get you that value. He's going to return 32 overall value. This is the time to draft Garrett Wilson at that spot. No doubt about it. What are the odds that they bring in a Fields? They're pretty good. I mean, Fields or somebody. And if they go with Aaron Rodgers, I think Aaron Glenn will get the offense moving. I really think they're going to run the ball really well. Aaron Glenn's bringing culture. They're going to run the hell out of the ball. I think it's going to all lean on the run. But it's going to be a very efficient thing for Garrett Wilson.
And what if Adams stays?
I mean, that's fine. I think it's fine. I think it'll be okay. Adams is getting older, so he's probably going to have – I think Adams probably vanishes. It has some big spike games, but I think he probably vanishes a little bit. I think Adams starts to do what Cooper Kupp, and unfortunately, I think Adams starts to do what Cooper Kupp did, where he's going to have maybe a really good beginning, and then he completely falls off the map, or he's a little bit more like a Diggs or a Tyreek Hill, where it's like there's going to be some value, but it's going to be like, oh, he's getting touchdowns and not yardage, or he's getting yardage and not touchdowns. But I think Garrett Wilson is the guy, and maybe they trade him. Who knows? But you never know. Depends what they can get.
Ridiculous if they traded him.
Well,
I have no idea why.
You know what would make sense though, if I may interject and make a trade on behalf of the NFL. If there's a team that wants to get out of their quarterback situation, like the Colts, and draft, you know what I mean? Like, that would be intriguing if you could send Garrett Wilson in some deal or whatever and get because your quarterback's more important than anything. Garrett Wilson's important, but if you don't have your quarterback situation locked down, even if it's Aaron Rodgers for one more year, what's the future hold? Like, what if you win and you're like a middle of the pack team, you still haven't addressed the quarterback? It would be interesting. You could throw Pittman in there. You could definitely make it intriguing, but the Colts kind of want to step away from AR5. I feel they would be very intrigued to go another direction, and that would be awesome. Fields goes to the Colts. Garrett Wilson goes to the Colts, and AR5 goes to the Jets. And you've got Breece Hall, you've got this new look team, and it's just everybody gets to start over. I mean, and Michael Pittman goes over with them. I mean, tell me I'm not GMing the hell out of this situation.
I mean, yeah, I think AR5 actually would fit in an Aaron Glenn offense.
Give everybody a fresh, look. Let's go. That's what I would do. I think there's an attractive way to make any trade work. If I was a GM, like I always say, I'd take a franchise to the top and win a Super Bowl within 2 calendar years, or I'd burn it to the ground. But either way, I would try, and I would have a good shot at doing it. But these GMs are so scared sometimes. I'm just scared to do anything.
We need GM Smitty. That's what we need.
Yeah,
we gotta get you in a team, man.
Joe Scheinbach's over in New York, scared to go get JD5. He's like, oh, they wanted JD5. They're like, yeah, we can't give. They were trying to trade up to get him. They weren't going to do it. Washington wasn't going to surrender it, but they were like, try and they were even like, you got to give up the world. You got to be like, JD5's our guy. Let's take a gamble. Let's go all in. Let's give them X amount of first rounders, and they're like trying to nickel and dime this thing, and Washington's like, No, Joe Scheinbox. All right. See you later, Vinny.
I'll see you.
Vinny, I forgot to ask. Vinny's from New York. How do you like my neighbors being the best value on this board, Vinny? All right. I'll see you all later. Appreciate you all. What a show. I'm telling you, this show is the most valuable show. If anybody's catching the tail end of it, watch the entire thing. This show is the most valuable show you're going to have all season, or I'm sorry, so far through January. Don't forget to get on over to my thefantasyfootballshow.com. Frog Feet got the lifetime package. He says you have almost impossible not to buy it. I joined the season in the middle of the year. I joined you this season in the middle of the year. Stopped watching all their channels. Appreciate you. Thank you, Frog Feed. Appreciate that. Get on over to thefantasyfootballshow.com. Year-round rankings, trade calculators, bold predictions. I got into the business in 2002, 2003 because there was no trade calculator available. And I said, I'm going to invent this. And I said, I'm fine. I'll do it myself.
Above all stacks, it's time to drop the pancake emojis in the live chat.
We interrupt this program to bring you a special message from the Bruce's mother.
Get Bijan.
But the continuum of the gigawatt component structure of Jahmyr Gibbs' workload divide has a megawatt offload that if you compartmentalize the component conjunction timekeeper and you flux capacitor out the continuum component megabolt, things just end up happening. And that's why Jahmyr Gibbs is a top 5 to 10 running back instead of top 6 to 10.